Oh, and here comes Carly.
Hello.
Hello, Carly. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Welcome.
We're
So
all here.
we've got this pre roundtable thing that we get to pick something from John's background that we think is interesting, and then he'll talk about it. And I want to know about
Here we go.
the white like tusk looking thing underneath the power thing. You talked about the power utility meter last week,
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago. But what's
This.
that? What
All
is
right.
that?
I'm going to get up. So you're going to get to see that I have sweatpants on and socks with no shoes, of course, like probably 90% of all of you on the call.
I put on real pants today, just to feel like I'm.
Question is, did you put on shoes in the house? Because that's like
No,
crossing.
I'm wearing slippers.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
don't do shoes. I don't do shoes.
So this is I brought two things over because I grew up in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Which if you read a little book called Moby Dick, remember it starts in New Bedford because New Bedford was the whaling capital of the world. Whaling kind of sucked being a whale, but really interesting historical period. And so I grew up in New Bedford, and they have the whaling museum there. And I also have family in New Bedford and on Nantucket, which was a big whaling place. And so this is actually a whale tooth. It's not scrimshawed. This is ancient. This thing is like over 100 something years old, right?
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
They're legal to buy and sell them now, but this was like in the family. We've had these. There are a lot of whale tooths lying around hundreds of years. There's no scrimshaw, but this is a sperm whale tooth.
I was going to ask it, is it a sperm whale? That looks like a
Sperm whale, yeah, and sperm whales only have teeth on their bottom jaw.
Mhm.
They don't have teeth on their top jaw.
And that little tiny thing. Yep.
And so it's like it's a little worn, but it's the teeth fall out, when the root is gone because it was whatever, it just fell out. So
Wow.
this has survived that long. But what's really interesting for me too is like all the old technology for whaling ships. And so this is actually the problem with whaling ships and any ship, sailing ship, was that you really don't want to have like lamps under the, under the deck, in the hold, because it's this kind of flammable, especially if you're carrying a bunch of oil also. So no light, no flames below deck. How do you see? Well, you could cut holes in the deck, but then like the light shines through and it's just a spot of light on the floor. So they invented, it's called a deck prism. It's just glass, and so this sticks in the deck, and the sunlight hits this, and because of the prismatic effect here of the glass, the facets of it, and the refractive index of glass, and the angle of incidence, and all that fun stuff, the light goes in like this, and then the light kind of shoots out the sides.
very cool.
Cool.
Very interesting.
That's a deck prism. So the two kind of go hand in hand because this is from old whaling, old whales, old whaling ships. There, now you know more than you ever wanted to know. But,
Nice.
Very
Right.
cool.
yeah, but it's neat to think about solutions. How technology evolves. This was actually a huge deal when someone invented this.
Oh, I'm
like,
sure. Yeah.
like wow, we can actually see below deck instead of literally like just kind of groping around and being like and it wasn't until they were able to have good glass molds and decent quality glass to be able to do this. Glass. Before there was glass, there were no deck prisms and ancient.
Yeah, pirates had to wear patches so they could see above deck and then below deck. That was the whole point of the patch.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You move the patch over to the other eye. So when you were above deck, because the sun was out, the patch would keep this eye dilated and this eye constricted. And so you'd go down below deck and you'd move the patch to the other side. And then this eye is dilated. You could see below deck. And this eye was still constricted and it would eventually dilate back out and you'd have to switch it back over.
That is fascinating.
Really?
That is why
they were all
pirates
just
have patches. Just in
knife
case you were
fights.
wondering.
You're right. Nice fights. Yep. Some sword
Was it
fights.
just a? That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Yep.
I totally forgotten about that, Bill. That is wild. So see,
Right.
24 of you 20 attendees who showed up now. Now you're learning interesting new stuff.
Not only are you learning about VR, but you know why pirates wear patches, and you know about deck prisms, and you know about the tooth of a sperm whale. I mean, come on.
I've seen one. Come on. How awesome is that? And it's Friday, so we all feel good about that.
Is that an old pirate wives' tale?
Is that an old pirate wives' tale? I don't know.
Nice.
Nice one. But awesome. And we'll give it's on the hour, but I always like to give a couple minutes for people to jump in here. But
if anybody doesn't mind sharing where they're joining us from, I always like seeing that. It's kind of
Yeah,
fun
that's
to
kind of cool.
see where people are joining from. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin here.
Madison as well.
Madison as well.
not Madison. I am in Montreal. Also begins with the letter M. But Vancouver, Canada. Oh,
This is an international event now.
look at that.
All
We've
right.
got Vancouver
Boston,
and Montreal.
Portland. Look at that.
Nice.
And we're going to keep track. We're going to keep following the chat during this whole event. I mean, that's, if you have questions, just type them in the chat, and we're going to keep an eye on the chat the whole time. So, we like to have questions happen as they happen organically. So we're never going to stop and have that awkward, any questions? And we all just stare at the screen and wait, we'll just let them flow.
And it says, I relocated to Wisconsin from Colorado Springs. I relocated to Wisconsin from St. Petersburg, Florida. So I'm also a relocator to the Wisconsin area.
Nice.
So,
I think she relocated to Colorado Springs. She got her. He has the right thought.
oh, backwards. I relocated from Wisconsin. Darn it.
Katy,
I
Texas.
thought I had it.
Green Bay,
That's
Wisconsin.
all right.
Colorado Springs is cool. We did a demo there for their utility company, and we actually have one of their steam turbines from Colorado Springs in Acadicus.
Nice. Oh, we should
Colorado
show that. We should show that in a show sometime. That's cool.
You
Steam
work for CSU. Okay. Well, let's see. Then we could at some point we could show you the big steam turbine we brought in. We went in. Were you at the demo that we were at? Okay, you missed it. Well, it was mind blowing. It was awesome, right?
Of course it was.
Nice. Nice.
See the Gators gear, lots of Gators frames in the Go Gators, class of 07.
Someone from Boston. I used to live in Boston for a long time. I went to school there. I worked at Mass General Hospital. So worked there for a long time. Norfolk, Virginia. Nice.
I have to say that in the pre-flight check before the roundtable started, John shared that he met Mr. Rogers, and I'm just still buzzing from that. That's just mind blowing to me.
know.
Like,
I know. And he said it so casually too. Like,
He's
yeah,
like,
Fred
"Oh, yeah,
Rogers
yeah.
when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah,
oh, no
I
big
got to
deal.
meet him. Yeah,
because he has a little place. His family, and he had a little place on Nantucket Island. And I've had family. I used to spend summer there on Nantucket Island with my family there. My aunt Amy, my uncle Albert, and and so I met him when I was like 6 years old. I will save that for our next roundtable. I'll like cue up the picture of me with him as a kid, because I know you got a kick out of that. But he was one of the most wonderful people, and exactly like he was on TV and all that. Just we got to. I feel very lucky and grateful to having spent time with him as a kid. But wonderful. Okay, I think we'll let's start kicking this off. Thank you everybody for joining us for yet another Acadicus Roundtable in VR. Some of you have been here before. Some of you have not been here before. We keep it informal. We keep it conversational. We also like to just do crazy stuff like actually log into VR live while we're doing stuff. So that's going to come in the second half. But we're very excited to, we always bring on people that have a very unique and helpful perspective on doing things around VR and education at that intersection. And so we're going to be really excited about today's presentation, not a formal presentation, but a discussion with Carly Brady. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm just going to walk through some intro slides just real briefly, just to set the stage for all of this. Okay. So Acadicus is, your a virtual simulation lab. It is basically a simulation lab that exists in cyberspace and that you can interact with either in a VR headset mode or in what's called non-VR mode, which means you can log into Acadicus simulations using just your desktop computer with no specialized hardware whatsoever. And today we have Carly Brady, who is the manager of academic technology at Madison College's Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. And she's got lots of experience, tons of experience with online learning. And most recently, she led Madison College's amazing journey into VR, working with Bill Ballo. And Bill is joining us here today too. And so I'm very excited because today we're going to learn how she successfully led Madison College into VR at an organizational level, and also learn about how the pandemic impacted her plans and where they intend to go from here, and identifying whatever key insights that they learned during their journey to successfully implementing VR education, because it is a journey. Right. When you're doing this, it's not just a turnkey solution. It's a journey, matching your goals with the affordances of the technology and bringing the people who are the instructors and the educators into the loop so they understand how they can do what they're currently doing, how they can do it even better, and how they can also learn the art of the possible in VR, how they can learn how to do things that they never even imagined doing because they never even imagined that they were possible to do. So here are all the folks on the call. Myself, Bill Ballo, John Brouchoud, Carly. I'm going to walk through also some slides here for Madison College. And I don't know, Carly, do you want to talk through these instead of me talking through them? And I'll just click forward real quick as you tell me.
Yeah, sure. I just thought it would be good to set a little context for Madison College for those who are not familiar with us. So we are legally Madison Area Technical College, or MATC, but we go by Madison College now. And we are part of the Wisconsin Technical College System, the WTCS. And there are 16 technical colleges throughout the state. And the green blurb there is the district that we serve.
Nice.
And so you can see here, that little blurb is actually all or part of 14 counties in South Central Wisconsin. So we serve a large district. The left bottom picture there is our main Truex campus in Madison. We have 3 other campuses throughout the city of Madison, and then we also have 4 campuses throughout our regional areas. And those regional areas are really quite rural, outside of Dane County.
Nice. It's beautiful architecture too. Wow.
It's a gorgeous building. And then just a little bit about the college in general. We were founded in 1912, so we've been at this for over 100 years. Our portfolio has more than 150 programs. Associate's degree is the farthest credential that we have. We also have hundreds of non-degree and enrichment courses for our community members and business partners. And in academic year 2019-2020, we served over 30,000 students, which is actually down. Usually that number is closer to 40,000. And we're proud of the fact that 93% of our graduates have job placement within 6 months. And most of those are within our district. So they are becoming taxpayers, paying back to the college. And we are the #1 feeder for transfer to UW-Madison, which people often are surprised to hear, given that there's a robust UW system, but Madison College is the #1 feeder to the 4-year UW-Madison. So
Nice.
that's just to kind of give a little background and context of who we are.
So whatever you're doing, it's working.
I guess.
Well, the numbers don't lie. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, and this is additional slide. Thank you, Carly. That was wonderful. This is additional information. These slides will be available to you as well, and when we follow up posting the link to the recording, you'll be able to grab these slides. These are just Google slides, so you'll be able to access them online as well. I'll just keep clicking through our slides here. So here's our wonderful montage image showing, I love it because Bill, you're in like all these different locations. You may know Bill Ballo as, oh my goodness, I'm trying to repair this HVAC machine or multiple casualty unit. Bill's YouTube channel is amazing. He's got a lot of amazing videos of all of the work that he's done with the
almost becoming an odd Where's Waldo at this point.
Yeah, it's like, where's Bill? He's treating a patient over there. He's not. Well, we're going to explore these when we go into VR too. We're going to see Bill's going to do some. You're going to do something with the coolant on that machine. We'll see what happens if it fixes it. And also, Bill's got an upcoming presentation of Serious Play on June 20th. I don't know exactly the date, but it's probably, if you go to seriousplayconf.com, you'll be able to see his topic, virtual labs simulation in higher education, higher education training from virtually anywhere. But that'll be very excited about that serious play presentation that you're going to be giving. For those of you who aren't familiar with Acadicus, it's we strive for realism. That is one of our core philosophies. And so our virtual environments, again, which are accessible either using a VR headset or just from your desktop, they look as real as possible. We even actually worked with GE Healthcare on this anesthesia machine. And so this is actually as real as it can get. In terms of visual fidelity, and we also, we create our spaces to feel as realistic as possible with real-time shadows and all that good stuff. The bottom line is it feels like you're really there, and we feel that in educational environments, especially in clinical environments that are very complex, your situational awareness is really linked to the fidelity and realism of the environment that you're in. So we strive for that. And in these environments, they can be wide-ranging the types of environments. So when we say a virtual simulation lab in cyberspace, think of like a holodeck in Star Trek. And the same way that the holodeck in Star Trek could simulate, a small room or an entire countryside, that's the way it works with Acadicus as well. So here you can see, Bill Ballo. Bill is in here in someone's house, working with a patient, and then also Bill is over here working with an event that happened on a street corner. So this virtual environment is like as big as a city block, and sometimes it's also as small as a small room, where we're working with different anatomical models. And one of the things that you'll notice that's really powerful in these environments is, of course, you can interact with all these objects and pick them up. We really focus a lot on creating, customizing environments and working with customers to make things as interactive as possible. What you're going to be seeing today later on in the second half of this event is we're going to be actually going into the roundtable in VR. So you're going to stay in Zoom. You all are going to stay in Zoom, but you're going to see Bill and myself. We're going to kind of blip out, and then John is going to be logged into in non-VR mode, sharing his screen. So you will see from John's perspective. He'll basically be our cameraman inside VR, and you'll see Bill and myself, and we'll be showing you some of these different environments. Bill will be loading different scenes into his virtual simulation lab, the same way you would in a Star Trek holodeck. You would load a different environment into the holodeck. And these are just some examples of some of the different environments that you'll see. I like this slide just to help you understand too that, when you are in the environment, if you're in non-VR mode, you look a certain way. You don't have hands because, you're using a keyboard. And then when you are in VR mode, you'll see yourself with this sort of, hazy, ghosty looking head and hands and your fingers will move as your fingers are moving in the physical environment as well. And we also have this ability to do recordings of what people are doing in these environments. And so sometimes you can play back a recording, kind of like the holodeck, playing back a recording of what somebody did in the environment. And it's a very powerful teaching tool, having recordings as an archive of lessons that instructors have given. And these environments, again, can be outside as well. And this last slide I like to show too, because you can have mannequins that are just multiple mannequins, as to use the terminology of physical simulation labs, multiple mannequins in the same environment that could be controlled. And sometimes people refer to these as NPCs in gaming terminology. But you could be controlling the vital signs of this person over here. You could be a sim tech could be controlling these mannequins over here, making them appear like agitated or changing characteristics of them. Again, remember, this is a virtual simulation lab, so you have the ability to interact with the simulation as it's playing, and as a sim tech, you have the ability to be controlling the simulation, and you can be doing that, logged in non-VR mode, just with your, just with a regular computer without any VR equipment whatsoever. I think, Bill, this is just an example of us. Just sometimes we just hang out in the living room and just talk in VR, which is kind of fun as well. And this last slide too, and again, you'll have these slides available, but I wanted to make sure you have all of these links available, again, how to contact Carly, how to contact Bill. I highly recommend Bill's YouTube channel, Ballo Medic, where he's making tons of videos all the time of what he's doing in the environments and examples of educational experiences that he's creating. Just amazing. We have our own YouTube channel, but Bill's is just, it's better than ours. It's awesome, as it should be. If you want to, the Acadicus Roundtable in VR, here's a link to the page to watch all the recordings. All of these are recorded and saved for you to watch at any point in time, and also register for new sessions. And remember, you can try Acadicus for free. You can log into these environments and explore them, the public environments, that is. You know, if someone's got a private sim lab, they would have to, you know, give you the information for being able to access that room. But you can wander around and explore all of the public examples of simulations that we have. So you can just download the software and get started on that slide too. And then of course you can reach out to us at support@acadicus.freshdesk.com. And lastly, if you would like to sort of just chat with us, you know, those of us who work at Acadicus, as well as people who are using Acadicus, the users, we have a community on Discord. If you're a gamer, you probably know what Discord is. If you're not a gamer, Discord is like Slack, but it's easier to use and a bit more fun, I think. So please join our community on Discord, and we'd love to, you know, we'd love to chat with you there as well. Okay. Oh, Heather, did everyone see my screen while I was doing that? I hope I wasn't talking to him. Maybe it was just Heather because she was on an iPhone. I saw in chat.
I was seeing it, John.
Okay. Okay. Heather, you know, I'm sorry, maybe you didn't see the screen share on iPhone, but the recording will have it. The recording will have the screen share. So remember, just go back and watch the recording. No worries at all. Again, we record everything, so you can always go back and watch it again. So, again, really quick intro. You know, I'm the director of community and business development. John is the CEO and founder of Arch Virtual, the creators of Acadicus. And Carly and Bill, why don't you just introduce yourselves informally, and you know, then we'll just kick this whole thing off.
Sure, I'm Carly Brady, and I am the manager of academic technology at Madison College, and I work in our Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, which we also call CETL. And Bill is rocking the CETL logo today. Bill?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm Bill Ballo. I'm in CETL. I come from paramedics, so I was a paramedic instructor and been a paramedic for 24 years and an educator for about the past 13 as paramedic educator. And I have now moved into the CETL department, and virtual reality has kind of become, virtual reality development has kind of become my thing.
That's fantastic. So Carly, this was a big project to get off the ground. What was your strategy getting started with all of this?
Well, I guess I would say we didn't have a strategy.
That works.
If my boss is listening, she's probably shaking her head like, Carly. But really, I mean, you know, virtual reality is still new. And I got into it in like the fall of 2018. I saw a couple of presentations at Acadicus, and they were health related. And then we had a faculty member in our marketing department actually come to me and pitched an idea to the college has a thing called an innovation fund, and you can write for innovation grants. And so we were able to secure a grant, the internal grant through the college, and we purchased 25 Oculus headsets. And
Wow.
Steve's idea was to augment his online class with being in the virtual environment. So we wrote that grant in like 2018, and the way that things move at our college and probably most higher education institutions, we didn't get them into the students' hands until last spring, luckily right before the pandemic. And then luckily for them, they got to keep them much longer because we didn't have a way to get them back. But yeah, I guess in terms of strategy, it's just it was really just kind of organic. So that was fall of 18, spring of 19, I went to South by Southwest EDU, and I saw two presentations on VR, and one of them was in the Everglades, like the swamps of Florida. And these professors had taken 360 video, and it was super cool. And they had a lot of reasons for doing this, but one of the reasons that they gave was that like folks with mobility issues would never be able to go to the Everglades. They won't be able to, you know, maneuver through a swamp. And so that was a way that they could bring that experience to people who otherwise couldn't physically get there. and so that just got my mind racing. Like, where else could we do VR that students can't get to? And then another one that really just kind of blew my mind. It wasn't actually what the topic of the presentation was. It was kind of an off comment, but it was a man and a woman, and they have a VR company together. And the man logged in, but he was logged in as the woman, and he immediately noticed how differently he was being treated, that the folks in the virtual environment thought he was a woman. And so then they flipped it, and the woman logged in as the man, and again, just couldn't believe how differently she was being treated for people thinking she was a man. So those two things, just like, okay, what else can we recreate that you can't possibly do in real life? Like, I could never be, well, I mean, easily, treated like I'm a man, but how cool that you can do that in VR. So that really just got my mind racing. I came back to Madison College and started talking with a colleague of mine. We started working on a 360 tour of our campus. You saw that picture in one of those slides, and it's a beautiful, beautiful new building. And I actually approached our international ed department, and I said, what if we did a 360 video and you used it to recruit international students? And so we worked on that. And then what did we decide, John? Was it summer of 2019?
I think so. Yeah.
I was just poking around online, looking up virtual reality things, and I ran across this Arch Virtual Acadicus, and I'm just sitting in my office. And so I downloaded it and I went on my merry way doing my stuff. And all of a sudden I heard, "Hi, Carly." And I'm like, okay, that was weird. There's nobody in my office. I thought I was just losing my mind and kept going. And then I heard, "Hey, Carly, can you hear me? Carly, are you from Madison College?" And I'm like, and then I realized I had downloaded this program. And so I navigated back to the screen, and there's this floating John. Like, "Hey, Carly, I'm John. I'm the CEO of Arch Virtual. How are you doing?" And I'm like, "Good." I just had no idea what was going on. It scared the bejesus out of me, but it was wonderful. And I guess John had been hoping to connect with Madison College because he's literally right down the street from our main campus. And so it just so happened that we were able to connect, and I brought Bill along with me, and Bill jumped in feet first. And yeah, that's kind of how we got started. And then there's more strategy now, but to get started, there was none.
So it's kind of like you were just being open to possibilities and thinking like a pioneer.
Correct.
How can we do what we're currently doing better? And are there things we could do that we never even imagined doing? I think that's
absolutely.
I see that as a common theme for people who are successful in doing this type of stuff. And not just in VR, but just in general, in any kind of new technology. It's the people who are realizing immediately, this is helping me right now do what I'm already doing better. And holy cow, look at this thing that we can do now that we never even thought of.
Totally.
So that's very inspiring, I think, for lots of folks. What was the thing that surprised you the most about this whole, this whole journey? What's the thing that was the most unexpected?
Getting it off the ground.
just that it got off the ground.
That we're here.
Crazy.
I mean, it took a lot administratively to get us to where we are now. And you forget about that because now it's fun. Now I just get to see what John and Bill and all of our amazing faculty come up with. But the administrative part to get here was challenging. And I think that's where a lot of people probably get stuck and probably stop.
What advice would you have for people who aren't used to swimming in those waters? What advice would you give to people to make stuff like that happen, to have success?
So I'm lucky because my boss is, who she's listening, she chimed in on the chat there, is super innovative and super open. And her boss is our provost, Tarina Bakken, who's also very open-minded and innovative. And luckily they trust me to not make really stupid decisions all the time. But I think getting your leadership on board is key, number one. You know, Tarina was really not sure what VR was when we started with this. And so we were doing a video to play for our college like opening session before the fall semester. And so we tricked her into VR. And Tarina's a big golfer. And so we had her do a golf simulation in virtual reality. And so just kind of given a little bit here, a little bit there, and slowly but surely, you know, now people are like, wait, what are you guys doing with VR? That's awesome. So I think getting leadership on board and then having a Bill. I mean, really, Bill has been awesome. He's not afraid to ask the hard questions of our faculty, but he's also just like super open-minded and has a knack with like what's possible. And so Bill's been really instrumental in helping not only get the word out, but then liaisoning with John and others at Arch Virtual to develop scenarios. And he's not a subject matter expert in botany, and that's what's great. You know, he's able to look at it as a very, you know, comes from a very open, I don't know what I'm talking about. Have you thought about this? So I think leadership and having, you know, like that faculty champion is key, absolutely key.
So it's a really is a multidisciplinary team.
Yeah.
Right? People bringing different perspectives, and the common thread being that they are all open-minded and looking at this technology as a way to advance existing programs and to do things that have never been done before. So I
Exactly.
think that's yeah, don't go it alone.
No,
It's
no,
you can't go alone.
no.
And it's I think that's also why a lot of us in this whole community, you know, we're just kind of real friendly, because the longer you stay in it, the more you realize, like, yeah, this is like, you know, yeah, we got to connect with people. You know, it's
Totally.
you need that that networking, that community networking, and that's it's another reason why you know, like for example, our Discord channel, you know, that environment is set up mostly for the Acadicus users to talk to each other. That's why we built it.
Yeah.
You know, we set it up and it's like, yeah, talk to each other. And, you know, as things grow, I think I think the next level of excitement will be also when people, you know, from other institutions and organizations and universities and schools start collaborating with each other. Then the next level of interdisciplinary collaboration. And, you know, one of the things we like to think about with Acadicus simulations is realizing, like, you could have, you know, right now, you know, in a physical simulation lab, you always think about, like, I've got this one room and here's this environment and I'm doing this thing. But, you know, if you can load like a holodeck different scenes into your simulation room, you know, whatever you want, imagine building a simulation that kind of like, you start out on a street corner, there's a multi-casualty event and you're doing that simulation. Then all of a sudden the environment flips and now you're in the emergency room in the hospital, and then it flips, and then the next level is now you're in the patient's room, you're an individual patient's room, and then it flipped, and the next part of the simulation is now you're in their home and you're helping them through some rehabilitation and helping them modify their home so that they can have, you know, increased mobility because of their injuries or something. So you could think of building these wider spanning simulations that could involve multiple subject matter experts, multiple universities, multiple institutions, and it doesn't matter where they are physically, because it's all online. I think that's
Pretty crazy.
yeah. I think crazy cool.
Crazy
you know?
cool.
You know, I think that was the Amazon just came to my house. I have dogs downstairs. I don't have a doorbell. Why do I need a doorbell if I have dogs? Wonderful. Bill, do you want to say anything about you know, the journey? You know, what were a couple of highlights of the journey that you think would be useful, in particular for people who are watching this, who are thinking about and while you're asking that, I'm actually going to launch a poll. So while Bill is talking, I'm going to launch a poll. It's very quick, 4 questions. I think yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and launch it, John, because I just noticed I have the
I was
button.
going to say I can't do it from my end, so that'd be great.
No worries. I'm going to launch a poll, some quick questions, but Bill, while people are answering the questions on the poll that should pop up on your screen.
Well, I was really fortunate to be connected with Carly, and that actually happened through. So Shauna I'm again, from paramedic, and Shauna is the dean in the protective services. And so when I was going to Shauna pitching all these kind of ideas, like, hey, how about this? What do we do? Let's do this. Let's do this. You know, she basically said, okay, hold on. Bill, Carly, Bill. And that was it. I mean, that for me, it was really great, because as soon as Carly and I were able to connect and start talking about things, we developed, you know, another thing we call Classroom Live, you know, where we can teach from our classroom, and our students can be anywhere. They can be anywhere, plus they can be in the classroom, so they have that option to do that. But so we worked on that, and then you know, since Carly and I were doing a lot of talking, and we were talking about all these kind of different ideas and thoughts, Carly said, you know, Bill, I really want you to see this. I want you to come in, see what Arch Virtual has, and tell me what you think about it. And so, okay, no problem. And if anything, I'm pretty honest, you know, like if I think if I think this thing is junk, I'll be like, it's cool, but I'm not interested, you know. But we walked in, and we're sitting there, and I was actually there early, and so I was talking to John, and John was getting an idea of what I was doing and all that kind of stuff. And then we went into when Carly and Alan arrived, we went into the environment, and I took the headset off, and I was like, okay, I'll take it right now. Let's go. I can use this tomorrow. You know, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to teach my students to see like a heart, right? So I do a lot of whiteboard drawing, but my drawings are really horrible. If you watch any of the ones on my YouTube channel, I actually make fun of my own drawings.
They're pretty bad.
My drawings are so
They're pretty
bad.
bad.
Yeah, they're just bad. But I always had fun with it. I always had a really good time with it. And so, you know, the start off with me was, well, I want to be able to show my students like a heart. Can we get maybe a beating heart? That'd be cool. Let's do that. And so that was it. And that within I don't know, it was maybe 2 months. I was already starting my first VR lectures.
Nice.
And now, you know, developing for VR clinicals. Our VR clinicals will be starting very, very soon here. So we have, you know, some really cool stuff that's actually just, it accelerated, and it really caught fire.
Nice.
But, you know, having Carly behind the scenes was just integral to all of this, to be able to say, you know, can we do this? And it was never one of those like, nah, I don't think we can do that. It was, well, let's see how we can do that. And that's so important. That's so important. If you have somebody that's constantly saying, let's see how we can do that, rather than I'm not sure we can do that, that changes the entire dynamic, you know.
Well said. I'm going to end the polling now, and I'm going to click share the results so you folks can see polling. The vast majority of people, their leadership are involved. That's a very good sign. And most people have a headset and are currently experimenting. Most people have the Oculus Quest. And most people, well, you know, about almost 50-50 kind of, you know, dedicated physical space for VR training. Maybe about half of you do. You know, one of the things that we're, but we also had some questions before we missed them. A question for Carly: how does Madison, the IT department, feel about all this?
So when we had to go for a request for proposal, the RFP process. And so part of that process is we require data security information. And so we, Arch Virtual provided that to our CISO, and they were okay with the security of it. What we're currently doing with Arch Virtual is all developed by Arch Virtual. We're just kind of the consumers of it, so nothing's living in the Madison College environment. Bill did have to work with our technology services, our virtual desktop engineers, to push Acadicus to students' computers that will be using it for the clinicals that he mentioned. So as of right now, our IT department has not been very involved, but we do have a meeting coming up with them now that we're getting more into it, thinking more about you know, creating an XR center. We're going to have to put more teeth and stuff behind our infrastructure to support all that. So but they're open and they're excited. I hope. I guess I'll let you know in 2 weeks.
Thanks. I think, John, this is probably a question for you. Someone said, is Acadicus only being developed for Rift? And what software is being used, in development? Maybe talk a little about headset compatibility.
Yeah, good question. So we're currently compatible with Oculus Rift S. Like John mentioned early on, we're really focused on high fidelity simulation. So we're going for the real high end of realism, and we're trying to push. We have a lot more that we want to do, but we're really trying to push the boundaries of realism. So we are a PC VR platform currently, Rift S, but our next update that we're actively developing right now. So our next update releasing will expand compatibility to HTC Vive, Valve Index, HP Reverb G2, and a bunch of other headsets. So that'll be coming out shortly. So we're really looking forward to expanding those capabilities, but it'll still be PC VR high fidelity.
And there are options, right, for the Quest, as long as you're plugging in using the.
Yes, good point. Yeah, you can use the Quest if it's tethered with the link cable to a compatible PC.
Yeah. For those of you, who aren't familiar with the plethora, which one is it? I don't know. The plethora of different headsets, the wonderful thing about the Quest, it is totally self-contained, but that's also the double-edged sword. That's the downside of it, because the computational power is limited to basically what it's like having a phone on your head, and so the ability to simulate high fidelity graphics is much reduced. But with the Quest, you can plug in a cable, tether yourself to a PC, and use the graphics card on the PC to drive more powerful visualizations. And so that's something that you can do. You can do with Acadicus as well. Cool. Let's see. Another question for Carly about what's your VR strategy look? How are you looking to expand content moving forward?
That's a great question. So what we've done at Madison College is really our strategy, I would say, is letting it all happen organically at this point. We started with healthcare with Bill and paramedic. Our nursing faculty, we have a WTCS consortium agreement that Arch Virtual is working on as well. And we've just kind of started trying to just let people know what we're doing. Right before the pandemic, actually, I was able to bring John on campus and introduce him to some folks. And one of them was our associate dean for applied science, engineering, and technology. And he took John down to the HVAC lab and was showing him around. And, John said, well, is there anything that, like, I don't even know the question you asked, John, dangerous or?
Yeah, complex, dangerous, expensive, things that, any kind of pain point, any kind of issue. Yeah, and Randy right away was like, there's one thing that really could help, and he had this manifold gauge. And he said, if, when we bring students in, when they're interacting with it in the shop, there's a small, but there's a risk that they could do something that would cause, vapors to be released in the shop, and they have to shut it down and clean it out. And it's just not good. So if they could practice with this in VR first, then when they come to the shop, they should have deja vu. They've already done it in VR. So I thought that was a great idea. And we'll be able to show that. We're gonna, when we jump into, when John and Path jump into VR, we'll be able to show them that project.
That's a really good segue too. So what I think we should do next is there's still some additional questions in the chat, but I know there's a video, a short, like 2-minute video. So what's going to happen next is both Bill and myself are going to jump into VR. You will still be able to hear us, and we will be able to hear you, John and Carly. Things are going to get, as they say in the Matrix, a little weird, but it's good. But why don't you, John, look through some of the questions in chat as well, but let's switch to let's play the video. And meanwhile, we'll use that time, Bill, you and I, we're going to jack into the Matrix here.
That sounds good.
All
I
right.
did want to add that, just from as those guys are getting ready, I think, from our perspective, we do demos for schools all over the country, and I see kind of the whole spectrum of different schools and their different approaches. And I think there's always two camps. There's like one where there's like one faculty member that's all excited about VR, and they're trying to convince everybody else, and they've got their headset that they're taking from home, and they're trying to show it and demo it to people. And then there's other schools where there's a top-down approach where there's like some administrator really wants to do it, and they've got a budget, and they're trying to like launch it to the rest of the school, but then the faculty are sort of, maybe some of them are or aren't excited. But I think what's making Madison College's approach so successful is that you kind of are doing both, where you've got the high level support, but you're not just like deploying it out and saying, okay, faculty, here's what we're going to do. We're all just going to start doing VR, because that doesn't work either.
No.
So you've got both. You've got that high level support, and you've got people like Bill that are able to like go and introduce this one at a time to each instructor and find those pain points, find areas where this can be of great value potentially. And then it just is starting to grow from there. And I think that strategy has really worked at Madison College.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, John. Like we're definitely not shoving it down anyone's throat, but we are introducing it to folks if we think that there's something that might be there. And I think a great example is last fall, John and I met with our interior design program director, Tiffany, and we were showing her around, because I was giving John a hard time that he had no decoration in any of his scenarios. And so we brought Tiffany in, and she was just kind of like, okay, thanks, bye. And then a couple weeks ago, I got an email from Tiffany saying, Carly, you'll never believe it. I bought myself a Quest. I'm in. Let's meet again. And now she's farther along than I ever would have thought she would have been. And then like we met with our vet tech faculty, and they had that reaction, but I think they'll come around. But it's just introducing folks to it and let them come to it at their own time, because
exactly,
you can't force it, and it's abstract for a lot of folks to grasp.
Yep. And then figuring out how to get that high level support for the individual instructors that are trying to pull. Because I know there's so many people, probably even on this call, on this roundtable, that, they're really excited. They've got a Quest. They want to bring it to the school, but they just can't find any support, and I think you've got to have both. You got to have someone that's there to meet them and say, yep, let's work together and figure this out. So cool. I'm going to share this video with sound.
And can you hear me, John?
I can. Yep.
All right. Bill, can you say something? Just curious. Sound check.
Just a second.
Yep, we can hear him.
Cool. We'll wait while you play the video. Bill and I are on the roof here breaking things.
All right.
Okay.
Here comes.
You guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah. You sound
okay,
great.
awesome.
We'll
All
play
right,
with this
here comes the
manifold
video.
later.
I'll mess that up.
This video is a preview of how far Madison College has come in our virtual reality development in just over a year. Finding instructors who are passionate about engaging students in new and innovative ways helped to accelerate the success of our VR initiative. Initial development of virtual reality at Madison College focused mainly on the healthcare fields. Highly complex clinical and lab skills that were once taught in typical classrooms can now be demonstrated in fully immersive environments. Utilizing some of the assets already available in Acadicus helped us to find newer ways to engage our students.
This is the scariest asset in Acadicus right here. Those teeth.
The teeth.
The teeth. There's Simon.
Even traditional lectures became more engaging and more immersive.
These are our old avatars when we were using the
Our
Oculus
ultimate
avatars.
goal was to use virtual reality to allow our students to practice in safety before they would go on to treat actual patients.
The student's responsibility when they enter the room is to receive a report on our patient. And then based on the information gathered from the vital signs monitor here, as well as what the verbal report, They would need to assess the patient, determine the best oxygen adjunct available that's over on the counter, and then apply that oxygen device using the prescribed flow from the oxygen flow meter, and then determine if the patient's condition improves or stays the same.
Since anything is possible in virtual reality, expanding to other programs outside of healthcare was always the plan. Rather than handling environmentally hazardous gases for the first time in a live lab setting, students can come prepared, having already simulated the correct process in dealing with these gases in the safety of the virtual reality environment. Students are even using critical thinking skills learned in their botany class to decide what plants would be best suited to help sustain human life on Mars.
I love that Mars landscape. Love that.
And of course, it goes without saying that without the amazing behind-the-scenes efforts of our leadership and development team, we would not be where we are right now and looking toward a bright virtual reality future.
Somebody said it was Bill's buttery voice in the background. I love that. It is.
Yeah.
It's great. All right, I'm going to load Acadicus. I'm going to join you guys in there.
Yeah.
Cool. I think I'm still facing my computer. I'm not sure.
Yep,
So,
we can see
I
you.
see
I
you
was
in
gonna say,
world. I see you.
Yeah.
Did you see me fall off the edge of the building here?
Did you fall off?
Well, I teleport. You don't actually
Fall
fall
safety.
off. I just, yeah, it's there's not OSHA compliant up here. There's just no
No,
handrails.
there's holes and stuff.
Well, deliberately. That's the thing that's so wild
Yeah.
about this space that Bill and I are in right now is that it actually does feel unsettling on looking at that hole in the ground here in the roof. It's like it's wild. I see John up here.
There's John.
I'm going to have to mute my mic right away when I get in there, so we're not.
There he is.
Oh,
Howdy, John.
excellent. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Boy, it's a beautiful day here.
Yeah, it's sunny, and Bill is ready to do some kind of. Whoa.
So the warning here is I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. And see, that's the beauty of this is like the student would come in having very little knowledge of what they might have to do, and maybe they do something like this, right? And
Are you supposed to take that red thing off? Okay.
I'm not sure.
Hey,
Oh, apparently not.
That's not what you're supposed to do.
Hold on. I'm gonna put that back.
Yeah, that goes on the
and-
end there.
Okay,
That
maybe the
goes
blue one. So maybe the blue one. Hold on. Wait, the blue one goes there, and then you turn this gauge on. Nope.
It's blowing out the other side now.
Yep. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, and I'm breathing it in.
And are these fans supposed to be on? Because these fans are just like.
Yeah, that's
Totally.
fine. The fans. Wait a minute. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to turn them off.
Bill doesn't know if the fans should be on or
I
not.
have no idea.
So
I'm
the
a
point.
paramedic. I don't do
So the
HVAC.
point is, he's a paramedic. Yeah, I have no knowledge of HVAC other than I know how to change a thermostat, turn it up and down. That's it. So,
Yeah.
but this behaves exactly like the physical environment, and it's a little bit more consequence free, yet giving you the same feeling. I mean, when that stuff sprayed out of the end over here, Bill, I was like, it's like,
Yeah.
the audio is spatialized. One of the big things about in a 3D environment is that when you're goggled up like this, you can lean in. I mean, I was leaning in and I can see and point to the very specific way these, I don't even know what these are, but it's like, okay, this red one is screwed in on the end here, and then this.
And this
valve
was
is
all
over here.
something that we custom developed at Madison College. I mean, a lot of the gauges were here, but the functionality of them, the way that they work, the way that they interact with the unit, that was something that was custom built. This was custom built by some of our HVAC faculty.
And,
Hey,
and the
Pat,
cool,
your left laser's on.
Oh, my left laser. Let me turn it off. How about
there
now?
it goes. Yep.
You're
Am
good.
I good? Any of mine on?
Nope. All set.
We
Okay,
saved
all
the lasers for the rave afterwards.
Yeah,
Bill,
that's right.
Remember, let's
Yeah,
do the rave
yeah.
thing with the lasers.
We were doing magic tricks earlier today. Like, look.
It's actually a very useful
Hey.
tool for pointing at things. So like if you have a board or if you want to point to something at a distance, you can turn on lasers that other people can see, like laser
And in
pointers.
case anybody's wondering why I'm so much shorter than
You're
Path here,
yeah. Let me stand next to you
it's
here.
yeah, it's I actually
You're very
broke my
small.
foot
Oh.
back in December, and so I've still been able to get into the virtual reality environment and act like I'm moving around in here. But I'm just now getting into the healing process where I can start wearing a regular shoe again. So I have to
That's
stay sitting down for a little bit.
good. Good.
Yeah.
Now your left laser's on, Bill.
My left laser's on. All right, left laser off.
There we go.
Cool.
I was
Well,
going to say with the manifold gauge, I think the cool thing is that, you know, the subject matter experts at Madison College guided the development of it. So every step of the way, they were able to give us feedback on what they wanted changed or added or new functionality. And our developers were able to respond to those requests. But the better part about it, though, is that when it comes time to teaching students how to use this, it's not like it's not like some pre-programmed application that's just going to automatically do it. It's going to be an instructor from Madison College in a 3D recording, just like you see Bill and Pathfinder, showing the students how to do it themselves, like in their own voice. So the instructors aren't like left out of the experience. The instructors are a really important part of doing that training. And eventually, when there's more headsets available, the instructor will be able to do this live. So they'll be able to bring their students all in here together and say, okay, everybody gather around. We're going to do a demonstration. And they're showing them in this in a way that the instructor is a really important part of that learning experience.
And then there's the
want me to
ability
load-
to record. Remember, we can also record instructors doing things in these environments as well, and then play like a 3D recording, which is.
And you can record it as a 3D recording, and then the student can come in, watch the 3D recording, and then interact with the item themselves. Do you all want me to load the dynamic cardiology?
There was actually in the chat, someone wanted to see if we could get a little bit closer, John, to the
absolutely.
manifold gauge to see what
Sure.
Bill and Path are
Come
playing
closer. And it's you know what you can do in VR too is, I mean, you can see my hand. You can point, you know, I can say this object here, check the dial, you know, when it gets into this zone here, this is not good. It's, you know, one of the when you're in non-VR mode, you have limited ability. You can't, you know, lean into things as much as you can when you're in full VR, but it you know, you get a good sense of, you still get
And
a
the
good sense of
gauges
things.
do move, and the values do change on there.
Yeah,
as-
those little, you know, the gauges actually are not just static screenshots.
Super cool.
They work. Cool. So what do you any other questions? You know, people can ask questions of us in VR. Like
There are questions. Yeah, let me just open up the chat here. Let's see, moving closer. Budget for VR development for the projects, does that come from the department you're working with or from the CETL department or both?
So currently, it's coming through CETL. We have the contract with Arch Virtual, and so and a number of projects that we will do throughout our contract. So it's just through CETL right now. That might change in the future.
Good question. While the cost of the head-mounted displays or VR headsets is coming down, the main constraint is the high hardware requirements to use to work with these HMDs. What can be done to overcome this issue? That's a good question. I'm not sure at this point. I
If
think
anyone has the answer.
yeah,
Let me know.
you kind of have to work with where it's at, you know, and I think, you know, because I remember back to when I started doing demos, I used to have to roll a whole cart full of stuff into these, you know, schools where I had to get there an hour and a half early, and I had to set up, you know, lighthouse base stations, and you know, and now because it only had to be working on a desktop PC, I had to have a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse, and but now you can bring in a small, it's got to be a powerful gaming laptop, but it can be a laptop with a headset. It's only got one cord, and it's, you know, set up in 5 minutes. So I think it's moving along, but I think we're all just kind of waiting for the hardware space to continuously improve. And obviously the Quest was a really innovative headset to come out and sort of move the ball forward with standalone VR. So I think all of this is just kind of coming together slowly over time.
And you know, if any of you have either yourself or you have children who are video gamers, you can thank them and say like, thank you for driving the hardware manufacturers to create more and more powerful graphics cards. Got to get cheaper and cheaper every year. Because, 3 years ago, running a VR simulation from a laptop, it's like, there's no way you can do it because there is no laptop with a powerful enough graphics card to drive a VR headset. Now it's like, well, yeah, they exist because every year the, NVIDIA and other graphics card manufacturers keep making more and more powerful cards that cost less and less and less. And things like the Quest, they keep shrinking. It's like, okay, now the thing that we can fit completely in the headset is as powerful as the most powerful gaming computer was last year. So it's
And
really
my son and my
getting
daughter,
cheap.
my son is 9 and my daughter is 7, and they love this stuff. So they're going to be learning this way. They're already playing around with it, and I'm having my son act as sort of my student, to help me develop where we're going to be holding classes and all those kind of things. And he's getting better at it than I am in some cases. And my daughter, the other day, I walked in and she's in her room and she's got the headset on. She was in a Quest, but she's got the headset on, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "I'm fishing." I said, "You're fishing? Where did you find that?" "I don't know. It was free, so I downloaded it." I'm like, "Whoa, okay, all right. You're fishing. That's awesome." So I sat next to her and took her fishing, So it was like, hey, this is perfect. So
That's a good point, though, too, about the gaming. That was something that our interior designer program director realized, that a lot of her students were coming to her because they're gamers and because they love sim. So that's something to keep in mind is the generation of students that are coming. This is going to be very natural for them.
Yeah. Although being a gamer is not a prerequisite at all for using this kind of stuff. If you're, one of the main things I do at Acadicus is I train people coming in to using the platform. And some of the people who are who pick it up the quickest, it's like, yeah, I've never played any video game whatsoever. It's not a prerequisite at all. So it's kind of a win. Everyone wins situation. You're like, if you're a gamer, you'll be into this. If you're not a gamer, it's like, well, it's actually really easy to pick up because, it's not like, it's not like Twitch gaming, you're not like shooting things. You're not like playing Fortnite where all this stuff is happening all at the same time. And you need to be a kid to have the super fast reflexes. It's like, no, this is like the physical world. It's like, yeah, let's check out these gauges. Let's, interact with these environments. It's very natural to people who have no experience in gaming at all.
The last time I played a video game was probably Mario Kart on Nintendo 64. So yes, you do not need to be a gamer to.
There you go. I know we're running up because I do have a virtual watch I can look at. We have a few minutes to the top of the hour. Do you want to load another environment though, and we could?
I'll load our dynamic cardiology.
The one where we can pick up the beating heart and show them.
Yeah,
because
I think the heart is in there. Is it?
I don't know if it's in this room.
We're loading.
Well, it's loading. I see quite a few questions about the Oculus. That's something that John and Bill and I are struggling with right now. If we go forward with the Rift S or something else that doesn't require a Facebook account, we have a workaround right now, but that isn't going to be forever. So we don't have really an answer at this point. We're just kind of experimenting with different headsets. We're getting a Vibe, I think. Is that right, Bill?
Reverb.
Reverb
2.
To test that out.
There you go. You can play with that if you want to.
It's I think you didn't make it grabbable by other people.
I'll make it grabbable. There you go. Now it's grabbable.
Yeah, the Facebook requirement's definitely been a challenge, and with Rift S being discontinued soon, I still like the Rift S. I think it's one of the best headsets available, but they've unfortunately decided to discontinue that. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we pivoted to very quickly expand compatibility to other headsets to remove that Facebook dependency.
I got it.
It's just kind of a. You guys love that heart.
I just like taking it from people. We had I mean, I don't want to. You can walk over to me if you want, or I'll step a little closer. I was teaching somebody new who never been in VR before, and I showed them the heart. And the first thing that they did? They did this. They did, wow, I can see the valve. I'm inside the ventricle. I'm inside the atrium. You know, they just kind of like, they were blown away. They're like, wow, this is like the ultimate in a visualization, because it's not just like watching a video. You can actually, and so if you're learning anything to do with anatomy, you know, they were just like, oh yeah, and it's you know, I can just kind of pass right through it and just put my head in the left atrium and the right atrium and look at the different valves as they're moving. You know, and it's really interesting to see people who have never used VR before come in, and if they're educators, you know, just kind of realize, wow, I've never even thought of doing this before because I didn't realize it was even possible.
John, there's a question about the apps to make the valves interactive, and how can a non-Acadicus personnel make custom features for their installation?
Ah, that's a great question. So, non-Acadicus like developers can have access to our scene editing tools, so they can completely rearrange the scene however they'd like. It's not going to be something where you can create like an animation if you want this patient to like turn their head or raise their hands or create animations like that. Those types of things, or any programmed functionality, are things that our team are currently developing. But this particular scene, you have the ability to come in, and if you want to change that dining room table to be a different table, or you want to add other family members, or move things around, or move the patient's position, all of that can be done, and then you can save that scene configuration. So kind of the model is particular to, you know, medical simulation, is being able to manipulate the scene in real time. So you can change it using like the simulation manager here, where in real time I can change the vital signs to have different preset values, and we can animate the patient and do things like that. So as the students or learners are in here, they're able to see those changes happening. So the way that the scene is modified is essentially in real time by the instructor, or using those scene editing tools.
Or have objects in the environment that you can interact with. Like I just picked up the yoga mat. You know, you could actually, and everyone sees this in real time as the environment's being, you know, changed, and I can put the mat down on the floor, and everyone sees that in real time.
So it is 2:02.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh-oh.
Sorry, he went into VFib. I got to do this.
Oh, the valve interaction question. I just saw. So that this asset is actually something that we purchased on TurboSquid. So a lot of the assets that we're able to bring in are available through third-party vendors. So this is an existing asset. We didn't animate or create this asset. This is something that we imported. So that's a good point, that it's really easy. If you go onto turbosquid.com and you find some asset that would be valuable for your education program, we can purchase and import that and make that available to you in your room. So like the ophthalmology department found a really great cross section of a human eye. And so we purchased that. I think it was like $350 or something. And we were able to import that in for their program.
Nice.
The
Bill, you want
news
to
is
end?
he got better.
Oh, his color looks so much better.
Yeah.
I was going to say we should probably close things up. You want to end it on Mars, you know, to kind of celebrate the Mars landing?
let's get to Mars here.
So again, we're not leaving the room. This is the same virtual simulation lab that you know that Madison has, and it's the same holodeck. We're just loading a different environment, and I like the Mars one because it's just so expansive, and we're not botanists, but we can wander around, you know.
So I'm actually not seeing the Mars one.
Maybe we could go to the Commons and then go there.
Actually, that's a good one. Yeah,
let's do that.
Oh, and show the Commons, because remember, you can download Acadicus for free and go to the Acadicus Commons and explore all of these example environments that we've set up. It's kind of like IKEA. You know, you can wander around, and all of the assets you see are part of the free content library.
We'll meet you there.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm going to, we're going to jump. Okay, we'll jump to a different room. Here we go.
Yeah, we'll go to the Commons first, and then from here we can get to Mars.
Okay.
This is like the
out
orbital
of
station.
It's like the way we do it.
So we are actually jumping to a different room now. So we're leaving Madison's holodeck, and this is a publicly accessible area.
And then when we get into Mars, let's mute our mics again.
I'll meet you on Mars.
Where'd John go?
I'm on Mars.
You're on Mars.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm behind the tour here. Here we go. I'm going to Mars. Loading. This is fun.
We're adding the rover soon.
Nice.
Got a 3D model that you can get from NASA, freely available. So we're just going to import that in here. There's
Nice.
Bill.
Hey. How's it going?
And there's John.
And muting my microphone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect.
Hey, look,
Welcome.
there's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Welcome to Mars. What does he say? Get your ass to Mars. Well, this is a huge environment. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I can just, let me see. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm always looking for the camera. You know, I can just go bye. I'm going away. You know, I am. You can still hear me, but you see me? I'm waving.
Yeah.
See me?
Yeah.
See me? And this is used by students doing botany students. But right now, it's probably the most realistic recreation of Mars because there's just nothing here. There's nothing. I'm taking me a while to get all the way back here. Here we go. But any last questions from folks watching? Any?
I found water.
If someone says if you go to Mars, you can do a total recall enactment of restoring oxygen.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice. That's my phone ringing. I'm sorry. It's going to go away in a second.
Give the people the air.
The question about the using controllers without or using your hands without controllers, that's definitely something we're watching. The hand tracking technology that's in the Quest currently is amazing. So I think that's definitely going to be, if you look at this a year or two out, that's going to be one of the main ways people are interacting without controllers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
There's a couple questions I can answer really quick here. Right now, our students are not creating any of the VR content. We are just working with Arch Virtual for the content creation, and our faculty, subject matter experts. Right now, none of our students are currently in headsets because of the pandemic. So everything that we have built since the pandemic started is available to be done in a headset and also in 2D using the viewer mode. So we intend to continue to do that for your point, Valerie, equal access for students, because not everybody is going to be comfortable putting a headset on, and we want to make sure that this is available for everybody. And then, what was there? I think that was it.
cool.
Pathfinder's not socially distancing.
I am to close it off. I am
flowers.
going to plant some. These are daffodils. I'm planting daffodils on Mars. There we go.
Beautiful.
There we go. Nicely done.
We got daffodils on Mars. Well, thank you everybody for attending. Again, we'll follow up with an email for everyone who subscribed to this event, and send you the link when the recording is online. We'll have a link to the slides as well. And we do these about every other week. We have an upcoming was it Kim Ernstmeyer? I'm sorry.
From CVTC.
Yeah, in a few weeks. And so if you enjoyed this, we're going to keep doing them until people tell us to stop. And no one's told us to stop so far.
No.
Kim is on March 12th. And if you go to the Acadicus Roundtable page on acadicus.com, you'll see you can register for her roundtable as well. March 12th at 1 Central, I want to say, or maybe noon Central.
Yeah, we might. Well, as long as you register for the event, if there's any changes to the time or whatever, you'll get an alert. So
yeah,
it should all be good.
Couple weeks.
And feel free to reach out to Bill and I as well. You have our contact information in the slide deck.
Wonderful. All right.
Absolutely.
Well,
thanks, everyone.
Waving to you from Mars, Bill and myself, John.
Take care.
Everyone else, and Carly, thank you so much for sharing all this information. I'm sure a lot
Thanks
of
for
people
coming
learned a
by.
lot.
Yeah, thank you, Carly.
Appreciate it.
Of course,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.